I've been doing a lot of night riding this winter, and I can't help but get the feeling while I'm whizzing through the trees, there's almost this feeling like there's a gun being pointed to me. And if for some reason my trusty little light on the front of my bike were to turn off for whatever reason, that gun just might go off. And instead of just shooting a single bullet at me, it would be like a big old buckshot at tree trunks at you. Maybe I don't hit one, but not something I really want to risk, you know? So that brings me to the point of today's video, which is reviewing, I think, to be the best lighting system for mountain biking, the Evo Downhill Package. All right, so the first thing we gotta talk about is cost. These are the best of the best when it comes to lighting for mountain biking, therefore they're pretty expensive. At the hangover light here, this will run you about $135. You can buy it individually. The Evo that goes on the bike, that does about $240. Buy that individually, buy them in the package, usually you can save a few bucks, and it's around $375. I didn't have to pay for these. I got to borrow them from my local bike shop at Infinity Cyclery in Poulsbo. Brian, the owner there, was like, hey, I got this cool shipment of these awesome lights and you wanna go try them out for a week or two and do like a review video on them? And I was like, absolutely, I freaking love flashlights. I'm happy to do it. So I just thought we should get the price out of the way because I do know for some of you, this is just gonna be too expensive and there's really no point in going any further in the video. So next we gotta talk about light quality. And light quality is a kind of a tricky thing to discuss because in a video I can't show it very well from what the camera's adjusting its light quality based off of how much light it's getting. And you can never really get good shots at night. So you're kind of just taking my word for it, which doesn't work very well. So I wanna break this down into some numbers for you. This is the Montier Zeus 6500. This is the light I've been using for the last few months, and it's pretty much one of the brightest lights you could possibly get. It has 6,500 lumens, which is like 3 times the amount of lumens that you would have on the headlight of a Boeing 747. It's over twice the limit of what is legally allowed in California. So this is an insanely bright light. This light set here has half as many lumens. This has 2,200 lumens, this has 1,000. Combined, you're looking at about 3,000 lumens, which is, it's not as many lumens as that light over there, but I still think it does a better job at illuminating the trail in front of you. This perfectly illuminates everything in front of the bike, and with all the LEDs on the front and the way the light is diffracted out of there, it just evenly lights the trail in front of you. Then you got the headlamp, the Hangover. This has only 1,000 lumens, but it still works a little differently. It's more of a spotlight to help you look ahead on the trail. So when you're going around a turn or off of heading towards a feature or heading into a landing, it's nice to be able to have light wherever you're looking. I gotta say, it is insanely disorienting to only have just one light off of the bike, because as you're used to riding during the daylight, when you try to look ahead in the turns or the features of the landings and you can't see anything and you're stuck to only see what's in front of the bike, it's not a very good feeling. It's not very pleasant. It's very disorienting. Doesn't feel good. So having 2 lights is a must. If you don't decide to pick these lights up, I strongly encourage you to go and get yourself a secondary light to work on your helmet, or if you have a helmet light, go and get one for your bike. It's when they work together, it just makes this such a magical system. It's the best lighting that you can have for your mountain bike when these are working together. Next, we gotta talk about battery life. And I can't really do that without pulling this guy out again. You just gotta remember this giant massive cable and this big battery pack that straps onto my bike. It's quite annoying. And for the joy of not having to deal with any cables or battery packs, these get rid of those entirely. And just the ease of use of these are through the roof. Attach this onto your bike and you got this part is just attached on there. Then you can take this off and on super easily, and then light goes off and on, easy peasy. Same with this on top of the helmet. You can just take that off super easily, charge the lights, take them with you, throw them in your backpack, what have you. The ease of use is just so crazy. That's what I love most about these things. I love not having a battery pack, love not having to deal with any giant cables. Let's talk about battery life on them though. On the low setting out of the Evo here, you'll get 8.5 hours. You'll get 9.5 hours on the low setting here, 4.5 on the medium setting here, 2.9 on the medium setting here. The low setting is more than enough light to go around and do pretty much anything you would need. The medium is enough light to do more advanced technical stuff where you need to be able to see better on your own like single track stuff. You know, you're still getting 3 hours of light on the minimum on this guy and 4 hours on this, which is a ton of time. I mean, who's riding out in the night that long? On the high settings, these blast out a ton of light, which is usually intended for doing downhill stuff, maybe stuff in a park, stuff where there's, sharp turns and berms and features and jumps and drops, and you gotta be able to really see ahead of the trail. This will do the best job of illuminating that, and therefore it'll also burn through the battery the quickest. So you'll get 1.7 hours out of this guy, 1.1 hours out of this guy, which sounds a little low, but as long as you're just leaving the high setting reserved for doing any sort of downhill stuff like that, if you do a little bit of battery management, you get the joy of not needing to deal with any cables or battery packs, and you'll still have more battery than you need for pretty much anything you would need. But let's say you do need more battery life. Let's say you are wanting to put these on high and ride through the night. You have charge through ability, so you could get some cables and you could charge these through external battery packs if you so choose. But I think the joy of these is not needing to do that. So I give them a 10 out of 10 on the battery life, even though they do burn through it a little quickly on the high end. But as long as you're reserving that for the time you really need it, it's not an issue at all based off the testing I've done. The next part I want to talk about is company reputation. I have a ton of companies sending me ads for their bike lights. And every time I look at the comments and the reviews on these, it's just, everyone's like, this is the greatest light I've ever bought, my favorite purchase ever, the customer service is so great, and everyone's just so happy, and sunshine and rainbows. And that's on one side. And then there's another light in the room that every time I go onto their Facebook page, someone's complaining that their my cable's broken, the battery pack's not working, my light won't turn on, my battery's not charging, whatever it is. There's just endless complaints every day. It's just wish I wouldn't have bought that thing. I get a little nervous, but not on this one. It's just like a meme to look like one way or the other about which choice to make. Everyone's always happy with this choice versus other companies people are not happy with. So I also sent a message on Instagram. I said, hey, what about replacing the battery? And they said, you'll probably never need to do that for 1,000 full charge cycles through these things. But if you do at some point, you can ship them to us, we'll replace the battery, we'll ship them back to you, and we'll cover the cost of all that. I was like, that's insane. I know the batteries in here got to be pretty pricey, so what a thing to offer. But basically gives you the feeling that once you buy these lights, it's the last lights you'll ever need. And that's a really good feeling. So next we're gonna talk about the bad reviews. And I love looking at some bad reviews, especially on a company that has all 5-star reviews, overwhelmingly 5-star reviews. There's always a couple 1 stars. So let's check out a few of those. I'll say when I got to the first one, I was a little disappointed because I started reading it and the person was like, these lights are just the greatest lights I've ever purchased. I can't imagine a better purchase you could ever make. They're the brightest lights ever. The battery lasts a long time and they saved my marriage. It's okay, that was a mistake. I think he meant to be a 5-star review. And then I read the second one and this person was like, these are the greatest thing that mankind has ever been gifted. There's never been a better bike light. And I was like, that's gotta be a mistake too. And I gotta tell you, it's a little disappointing. All of them seem to be mistakes. They're all super positive, raving positive reviews and 1 star. It doesn't make any sense. I will say there was a couple 4-star reviews, a couple people complaining a little bit about battery life. And I'll say for the joy of not having the battery pack and the cables and everything, and as long as you do just the slightest bit of battery management, these will last as long as you need for whatever crazy long ride you want to go on. The low setting gets you, 8.5 hours. That's so much, and it's plenty of light to go out and do some crazy ride. So it's not really something I think is worthy of a 4-star. I think it's a 5-star across the board. So didn't really find any bad reviews. All right, that'll do it for this review video. I gotta say, this is my second video in my The Best Review series. I hope to cover everything that I can in the mountain biking realm. So far I've done a full face helmet that had a detachable chin guard, and now I've done the best lighting that you can have for mountain biking. Hopefully I'll be able to go and move on and do more stuff, but at the moment I think I have these 2 categories totally knocked out of the park. If you want to pick up a pair of these lights, you can go to Outbound Lighting. Greatest lights ever. I just couldn't recommend anything more. Or if you're lucky enough and live anywhere around Poulsbo, Brian at Infinity Cyclery has a whole bunch of them in stock, and he'll be happy to hook you up with some. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.